Your parents deserve consequences for abusing you. And when I say abuse, I'm talking about your entire childhood and continuously throughout your adulthood. Please understand that this is not a one-time incident. You know, we can extend our parents' grace when they fuck up from time to time. But if you have parents, mom or dad, and they have consistently abused you mentally, psychologically, sexually, financially, emotionally, then you were raised by two narcissistic individuals who were highly toxic, extremely sadistic. They knew what they were doing, and they did it with full intent to fuck your childhood up. So here's the real question, y'all. Knowing that your parents are abusive and narcissistic, and knowing that despite you giving them 1,000,001 chances to correct their behavior, and they refuse to correct their behavior, they refuse to go to therapy, whether it's individual therapy to work on themselves or whether it's family therapy where you all can come together and heal your family trauma, childhood trauma, whatever issues or baggage that you have as a family. If your parents are not willing to do individual or family counseling or therapy, and you know that they're stuck being comfortable in their own dysfunction, they're never going to change, then you must do the unthinkable. Your parents should be issued severe consequences for the way they have treated you and their inability to change their behaviors. That doesn't mean that you can stop loving them, and you absolutely can forgive them. However, there must be severe consequences issued to both of them for the damage they've caused you. You are now in therapy trying to clean your life up from the damage and the pain and trauma they've inflicted onto you, and it's not fair. It's not fair that your relationships and friendships have all suffered due to the fact that you were raised by two abusive people who taught you to jump in toxic relationships and toxic friendships. Your parents have created a pattern in your childhood, and that's the only pattern that you know, and that's why you jump from one toxic romantic relationship to the next. That's why your friendships have been all toxic, because everyone that you've chosen to get in a relationship or friendship with all have the same behaviors and personality types as your narcissistic mother and father. And you have to break that pattern. And the only way that you can break that pattern is to cut off your parents. That's how you deal with the root of your issues. And you go to therapy. So what type of consequences do you give a narcissistic mother and father who refuse to change their behavior, who refuse to do anything to rectify the situation? They lack accountability. They're fucking delusional. They just will not address their toxicity no matter how many chances you give them. How do you issue consequences when your parents won't change? You have to cut them off. You have to accept them the way that they are, but you don't have to deal with them ever again. And just because you forgive them, forgiveness does not mean that you have to interact with them. Forgiveness does not mean that you have to attend family functions where you have to see them. You can truly stay away from family functions, that family reunion, that family cookout, birthday parties, weddings, funerals. You don't have to attend family functions. You cut your parents off and you move on and you do better in life. You go to therapy and learn how to become a better person, be better than your parents. So that when someday you become a parent yourself, you will raise your children up in a healthy environment. You will use the lessons based off how your parents raised you, and you will choose to do better than both of them. But you understand that you cannot change and heal from the damage that they cause until you cut them both off permanently. That means they cannot call you. You change your phone number. They cannot have no access to you. You have to look at your parents as a demonic entity. And they will use whatever portal they can to stay in contact with you, to stay connected to you, so that they can forever inflict their demonic energy onto you since they refuse to change. They cannot have access to your social media. They cannot text or call you, email you. You got to shut it down, even if it means getting a restraining order to make them respect your fucking boundaries. And also the family members that continue to support your parents and try to pass messages to you, they got to be shut down too. You're not playing no fucking games with your family when they're committed to being dysfunctional and supporting your abusive parents. And just know your parents also have never protected you from other bullies and other predators. If you were sexually molested and your mother and father didn't defend you or protect you, that's another reason you should cut their motherfucking asses off. They don't want you to heal because they benefit off of you being broken, because they're committed to staying broken and dysfunctional. Therefore, you have to cut your parents off. And that's how you issue them consequences. You let them sit in their own shit and think about the pain and trauma they've caused you. And the fact they have no more access to you and they gotta die knowing that you've turned your back on them. And God will deal with them. That's their punishment and that is their consequence for abusing you. Y'all have a blessed day.